In this episode of Chamber Chats, we sit down with Paul Selvidio, head of school at Community School of Naples, to talk about how education, leadership, and community engagement intersect to create an enriching and forward-thinking academic experience. For nearly 14 years, Paul has served Community School of Naples in a variety of leadership roles, first as the Chief Financial Officer, then as both CFO and COO, and now as the head of school. He's also taught and coached in the upper school, giving him a unique and well-rounded perspective on what it takes to create a thriving learning environment. In this podcast, we'll take a closer look at the future of Community School of Naples, exploring its innovative approach to education, deep connections with the Naples community, and what families should know as Community School of Naples continues to evolve in academics, culture, and impact over the next decade. Welcome, Paul.
Thank you for having me.
So excited to have you and sit down and learn a little bit more about Community School of Naples today.
I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm excited to share maybe a little bit of my personal story, but most importantly, our history here at the school and our role in the community throughout these almost 45 years.
Wonderful. Well, I know your organization and ours have a lot of shared history. You're a graduate of our leadership Collier program. Tell me a little bit about our shared history and kind of the background of Community School.
Well, really, the community school started in, believe it or not, our logo says founded in 1982, but it was actually founded in 1979. And it was originally called the Naples Country Day School. Okay. But shortly thereafter, once they realized, those founding group of people realized that this was going to be a dream that was going to become a reality, or at least taking the big risks that it was going to take to start a school, especially at that time. But yeah, we have a lot of shared leaders in the community, and a lot of them crossed over here at the Chamber and through Leadership Collier. Principally Clark Swanson and Judy Sproul were two of the chief architects of what we've now become today, and taking a lot of risk, especially in 1982, developing the school that we have today. It was Judy that said, what were you thinking? Critics would say, what were you thinking about building a school out in the middle of nowhere? If you're not familiar with where we're located, it's effectively the corner of Livingston and Pine Ridge. And at that time, in the early 80s, Pine Ridge Road was just a dirt road, kind of hacked through the woods to an old orange grove. And they said, we're going to put a school here. And she said, don't worry, that one day will be the center of Collier County.
And see, she was not wrong.
She was spot on with that. But we're more than just a location. We've become such an important amenity for our community. Those founding partners of ours back in the early 80s had a decision to make. It was, do we send our kids elsewhere out of the area to find an independent school experience, or do we create our own? And certainly that's a big risk. That's a difficult task.
Sure.
And they took that chance. They took that risk, and they developed a school, and it's now become what it is today because of their vision and their inspiration, of course, their support, and the generations that have come after them to support our school. So that now that we have a viable, reliable, independent school entity here in our community, that allows people to move here without the risk of not finding the educational opportunities that they're expecting from wherever they come from. They don't have to wait to retire to move their families down here, or retire and then move after their children have graduated. So we've given them that safety, that opportunity to move here comfortably, and then, of course, more importantly, for people to grow their businesses, establish roots, and stay here without having the thought about moving elsewhere to get that rich independent school experience that we're offering here at Community School.
That's wonderful. So for those that may not be familiar, talk to me a little bit about independent school versus maybe traditional public school.
Right. So independent school is what it is. We don't rely on any other outside entity for funding. We don't rely on outside entities to direct our educational curriculum. Not that our friends at the public schools are doing anything wrong, but we're not dependent on the K through 12 bureaucracy as far as dictating how we teach, who we teach, and what we teach.
Okay.
But more importantly, how we fund those. We're a school. Some independent schools do take some sort of public funding. We're one of the few that don't, especially here in the area. But that's important. We're not dependent on somebody else's budget timing, process, or funding.
Sure.
We don't have to wait for state legislators in the summer to decide what programs they're going to fund. We're funding it independently, and we're not beholden to whatever directives that another body would have to direct our curriculum. So what does that offer our constituents, our faculty, our students, our parents? It offers nimbleness. It offers us the opportunity to adjust quickly to changing environment like what we're seeing here today with AI. We can react a little bit faster.
Okay.
We're well funded, we're well supported, and we don't have to wait for direction from somebody else when we want to move in a direction that the world is taking us.
Understood. Okay. Well, talk to me a little bit about the history. You explained kind of the evolution, and what role does community school play in the greater Naples landscape?
Right. So we are that truly independent school offering to our community. And as I mentioned before, it's an opportunity for folks to have confidence with who where their children are going. One of the most important things, attributes that an independent school offers is safety. And so safety is priority number one. And then, of course, a kind of a seamless and very collegial experience through education. We call ourselves a community school for a reason. We're wholly supported by parents. And so we have parent-directed board of directors. Many of those directors will stay on for a half decade or longer, providing us stability through their experience and their leadership. And so we offer a true reflection of what our community is looking for in education. We respond to new and emerging trends in education, and it's a platform for those seeking a genuine educational experience. We offer at a community school.
Wonderful. So we talked a little bit about our shared connection, right, with Leadership Collier, and with those strong connections, how have those relationships helped to shape your school's role in our community?
We have a lot of parents own small businesses in our community. A lot of parents are, either doctors or lawyers, and quite a few of them interact in a meaningful way with the chamber. And so not only are chamber members, but chamber boards of directors, chamber leadership have a lot of input in how we operate at the school. Either they are current parents or past parents or grandparents, and so they're familiar with our school. And so anytime there's an opportunity for us to make a connection with some of the chamber constituents, we do that. And one good example is Judy Sproul a couple of years ago inspired the JCS Center, which is the Juliet Collier Sproul Center for us. And it's a focus primarily, it's actually a reflection of the Leadership Collier experience.
Okay.
I'm a graduate of the Leadership Collier class of 2014. I was at the school, and I always brought up my experience and how that was eye-opening to all the things that are going on in our county, all the way from what's happening in the eastern portions of our county to just even public service agencies that I wasn't too familiar with. And I wanted to bring that experience to our school. And through the leadership and funding of Judy Sproul, we were able to do that. And so that program, which is vertically aligned from our lower school all the way to our high school, our upper school, offers connections and opportunities for our students to interact with many of the same organizations that Leadership Collier has, whether that's the Guadalupe Center or Teen Angel Projects or Special Olympics, Botanical Gardens, Conservancy, all of the great organizations that are doing amazing, incredible work in our community. We have a relationship, or at least we offer opportunities for our students to gain some access and a relationship with as well.
That is wonderful. You have such a rich history, a strong reputation in our community. What is the future? What does the outlook look like for Community School of Naples?
Well, like I said before, we're going to continue to adapt to the educational environment, but we're also I welcomed our faculty back just 2 weeks ago, and I told them that my most important objective is first and foremost to make sure that community school is the very best place to work. If we don't have the best and the brightest faculty, then everything else that we're doing is just bells and whistles, and it's not really material to the educational experience of our students. So creating an environment, offering high standards, high support, meaning We expect excellence from our faculty and our students, but we're also going to provide high support, meaning we're going to create an environment that enables the success and excellence. So making sure that we're supporting our faculty, that's professional development, giving them opportunities to adapt to changes in the educational environment. Of course, compensation and benefits, and making sure that we're at the top of the class in doing that. Happy faculty, engaged faculty, inspired faculty is going to make for the very best experience for our students. And if our students are doing great, our parents are great. And if our parents are great, the whole community is great. Okay. So starting there is my first priority. After that, we'll look at some other things. We're going to embark in the very short term, later this fall, early this winter, we'll embark on very likely the largest capital campaign that we've ever signed up to do, okay, inspired to do on our campus. We're going to invest a meaningful amount in a new middle school. Okay. Middle schools are quite often overlooked at independent schools. Traditionally, they're inherited spaces from old high schools. Everybody always builds a new high school. We've done that. This is our history, building high schools on our campus, and they always get the newest equipment. And in middle school, that the whole middle school experience adapts to these older high school environments. Okay. But we're going to, for the first time, build our own standalone, very new, perfectly tailored for a middle school student on our campus. So a new middle school would be the big shining object that we have out there, but that's not going to be overshadowed by what we're trying to do with our faculty and faculty enrichment, curriculum enrichment, and investing in that whole experience. Wonderful. Congratulations on that. We know Community School is so involved in our community as a brand, as an institution. Talk to me a little bit about your students and their involvement in our community. Right. Through that JCS Center and all the other things that we do from very, very early on in the lower school, we're doing as many field trips as we can, as exposing our students to a variety of different unique opportunities in our area, from the agricultural side of things to the environment. We're blessed to be on the doorstep of the Everglades, so that's important to us, educating our students about how we interact with the environment, especially the Everglades. And then, of course, all the opportunities and all of the well-funded and well-principled and fantastically led organizations that we have in our community. Just offering them opportunities to engage with them is important to us, and that's embedded in our curriculum starting from a very, very young age. And there's other aspects of our school too that are unique. We offer a theater zone on our campus, which is the only equity theater that we can find on the campus of a school. Okay. Anywhere in the state, and probably very few around the country, in fact. And having that interaction is important for students. Theater, performing arts, visual arts is just as important on our campus as any other program. And we like to take advantage of our relationship with the Theater Zone and the folks that are managing that, like Mark Danny. They do wonderful things, and he's one of our very long-standing faculty. And having his program on our campus is a difference maker for us too. That's wonderful. Not only does it feed the pipeline of skills that we need here for this wonderful arts and culture community that we live in, but all those great skills, right, for public speaking, professional presentation, right? It's just some wonderful skills I think students would pick up. That's an important evolution. So I have to give a shout out to Lori Oliver too, with Naples Performing Arts Center. She conducts our middle school program for us and does a lot of productions for Impact on our campus too. Because of what you just mentioned, how are we as people, humans, going to differentiate ourselves in this artificial intelligence world? I love to write. I love to write messages to our families, to our community. But we live in a world where AI has really dominated that space, and nobody's going to give you credit for that. So how do we demonstrate our abilities and capabilities? We're going to ask students and people in the workforce to speak more, to perform more, to demonstrate more, to articulate more. That's where you're going to get the authenticity from. And so having a strong performing arts program is going to be a part of that. Having a strong public speaking and presentation and teamwork, team building exercises are all going to be important part of the curriculum and how we integrate it. And of course, athletics. These are things that AI can't duplicate. And so we need to embrace that and engage it and intertwine it in our curriculum. And we're doing that. We're going to be doing special things with types of, certain vocational work. We just opened, in fact, just this week, as school opened, we built a 1,700-foot kind of a state-of-the-art shop class. Really 21st century, where it's got your CNC machines and your saws, but it has laser cutters and all of the tools and equipment there for the folks to get hands-on. They're doing AI machine learning things with robots and probably drones very soon, but they're doing it with their hands. They're building it. It's getting really hands-on.
Love that.
The machine's not doing it for you. You still have to apply it and work with groups. And so it's kind of a long-winded answer about how does performing arts, put its arms around or integrate into all these other programs. But it's important, and it's part of the evolution of AI and how it integrates with, and that's just one example of the new and emerging trends in education. And
so you're able to adapt to.
That's how we adapt to it. That's the unique nimbleness that an independent school offers.
And you obviously have a lot of experience in the athletics side of the house, right?
Sure.
You came from coaching there at CSN?
I've been at school for, as you mentioned, for 14 years, and I've worn many, many hats. First and foremost, I'm most proud to be a parent of 3 at the school. So I've got a great perspective for what it's like to be a parent at the school. My oldest daughter is going into 8th grade. So this will be her 11th year at the school, starting in pre-K3. And, for all 3 of them, that's the only school they've ever known. So knowing the school as a parent has been really beneficial. Knowing the school as a faculty member, while I didn't teach, a tremendous amount of workload, but having that experience and, appreciation for what the faculty are doing inside of the classroom gives me another unique perspective. And then, as you mentioned, for 10 years, I coached on the for the football program at CSN, and we built it from a fledgling program to a real bona fide, something to be proud of, a point of excellence for us. And so that experience, how we mentor kids, how we develop young men, young boys into young men, is important. And then how we interact with the community through community service, and then how do we manage our time, and how do we interact with the faculty and set expectations and communicate, and kind of all of those ownership, executive functioning skills that you have to rush into when you're going to be an athlete, and you're really going to dedicate yourself to making sure that you're not letting anything fall through the cracks, and keeping track of your workload and managing that and communicating that. So having that perspective as a coach and a mentor has brought a lot to the table for me too. And so I can see the school from the lens of as an outsider, just as a community member before I got there, as a parent, as a faculty member, as a coach, and then of course always for 14 years as a senior administrator. So having that perspective is offered me, each one of those is a humbling experience. But having that in my as a way of background is always helpful.
Well, that's wonderful. So many perspectives that are going to make you such a great fit for this role and for leading the future of Community School of Naples. So that is excellent. Thank you for walking us through your history. What advice would you offer to families considering Community School of Naples for their children's education?
There's a lot of Collier County does offer so many great educational experiences out there. I think our public school system is very well funded, very well managed. They do an outstanding job. As we talked about here, just the nimbleness and the unique way that we can go about doing things offers a unique experience, a unique opportunity. And we offer that opportunity to the entire community. It's not just for the most well-to-do. About almost 20% of our students are on some sort of financial assistance. We have a very robust financial aid program.
Okay.
starting in 6th grade and up. And we also introduced a couple of one scholarship program opportunity available for veterans and first responders. So
Thank you for that.
certain qualifications for past veterans, current and past veterans, and also for current first responders, police, fire, paramedics. So the opportunity exists. It's broad ranging. We try and introduce the school to as many people as possible. But when you're there, the difference between our school and most other schools is everybody there is highly invested in their personal and academic excellence. And so that whole theme about high standards and high support, the support really does come from, it's not just us as administrators or faculty driving that support, it's the entire community. Wonderful. So even as a football coach, it wasn't unusual. It wasn't out of the ordinary for you to say, listen, I need to miss practice because, I have some sort of advanced topic study class that I'm highly engaged in, and I want to make sure that I'm properly prepared. That's normal. Looking for extra help or looking for enrichment, that's an ordinary experience at our school. Everybody's driven, rowing the boat in the same direction, looking for their own personal excellence, overachieving in every step of the way with their goal to go to the very best college for them. But most importantly, not just get to the best college for them, but to be prepared. And that's the number one thing we hear back from our alumni is how overwhelmingly prepared they were for whatever university experience that they were about to have. Within the first year or two of them returning and certainly thereafter as graduates, they always say how well prepared they were.
That's wonderful.
That's the difference, is the collegial effort to make sure that we're all moving in the same direction with all the same goals in mind.
And I'm sure with the longevity of it in our community, it must be fun because you've probably got multiple generations of families, right, returning and sending their children through the school that they graduated from.
I just had the opportunity to meet a few, this past week when we were welcoming new parents. I think I met 3 different families that were previous alum that are now having, a pre-K3 or pre-K4 student come to our school. And some of them had, I offered a quote from Mr. Pat Stranahan. He was the chairman of our board, president of our board from 1996 to 2003. And he offered us a really profound quote in 2007 talking about the history of the school and how the school was developed and shepherded and supported by parents, and crediting all the risk takers, just like I did when we opened up here, all the risk takers that 25 years before were doing. But his words 20 years later still rung true today. And I had an opportunity, his daughter is actually going to be a parent at our school now. And and I had a unique opportunity to introduce myself to her afterwards. But connecting that loop of 20 years ago, 45 years ago, and then circling back. And I'm sure, hopefully, 20 years from now and 45 years from now, somebody will be having the same reflections and stories about hopefully crediting everything that each generation has contributed along the way.
I love that. Yeah. Well, such a rich history, such a bright outlook. I've so enjoyed getting to know more about Community School of Naples. Is there anything that we haven't covered you want to make sure our viewers know? Thank you for this. I appreciate it. As you can tell, I'm passionate about our school. And I say that to everybody. This is our school. This is the Community School of Naples. Did Community School push Naples to be what it came, or did Naples push Community School to become what it has become? That's a debate that is fruitful to have. That just shows how important our school is to our community. We've benefited from this community, and our community is benefited from us as well. And so, I think from a perspective, from that lens of being an outsider before I got here 14 years ago, we are a really welcoming school. This is an opportunity that we want to extend to as many people as possible. It's not just for the well-to-do and well-connected. It is a place that we want to welcome as many people as possible, offer this opportunity to as many people as possible, to allow
whomever it is that we welcome in to overachieve, to use grit and determination to get to wherever they want to go. And we're going to offer that environment to support them in doing so.
Well, thank you for the wonderful support you provide to our community, to the future of our workforce here in our community, and just this opportunity for families that are interested. If someone wants to know more about getting involved with Community School of Naples, how should they go about doing that?
Easiest thing to do is visit our website. You'll find all the information that you need to answer a lot of questions, but you can, of course, find my email address on that website. Or actually, it's easy. You can email probably any teacher on our campus, and I'm sure, I hope, at least the goal is they would be eager to tell you all the wonderful things that they're doing and that our school can offer. And we're happy to share that story and tell you all about what we're doing at Community School.
Wonderful. Well, shifting gears just a touch, I know that you've been involved, as you mentioned, a Leadership Collier alumni. Tell me about your Leadership Collier experience and what that did for your personal and professional growth.
It was eye-opening. I would say that I didn't take advantage of many of the professional growth opportunities that are there. So many great people in my class. We were the silver anniversary, the 25th anniversary of Leadership Collier, and proud to do that. I promote the program to as many people as I can. It's the number one thing. I even tell my wife all the time. She's got a wonderful family business that she runs here, and she's busy. But I say it doesn't matter. You'll find the time. They'll make it easy for you. But the connections that you make are one piece of that. There's so many folks that make lifelong connections there, business connections, personal connections, dear friends. Even with that aside, all the things that you learn about our community is even equally, or if not more, beneficial. Having the opportunity to go out to the pinhorkers market or to the cattle ranches, to the tomato farms, or do a sheriff's ride-along, or ride with a paramedic, visit the courthouse, visit other schools, public schools, private schools, independent schools, government services, and then all of the human service organizations that you get introduced to. St. Matthew's House, as we mentioned before, the Conservancy. I'll do everybody a disservice because I'm not going to be able to go through that whole list, but you get to interact and see all of these great programs that are being run in Collier County and how important they are to our success, but also how well they're led and funded. I mean, we have some of the best, the Habitat Humanity in Collier County is the best
number one affiliate
in the country.
Yes,
a lot of people don't know that. But almost every organization that has a national presence, the local presence here is definitely in the top 1% of the organization's mission work that they're doing. They're doing right here in Collier County, and getting to know them, interacting with them is really important. And just knowing that they exist is important too. And having that opportunity was tremendous. And I couldn't be a bigger advocate for Leadership Collier.
I love hearing that. And in addition to being an alumni, you're also a very active chamber member and a member of our board of directors. Tell me a little bit about what your involvement in those roles have done to help shape your connection to our business community.
You know, that's a new role that's emerging. Like I said, I wish I could be more productive. I want to, I hold myself to a lot of high standards too. So I expect excellence in everything that I do. And I want to do more to support the chamber, but being a part of it, being invited to be a part of it was an honor, and I'm glad to participate in any way that I can. And the interactions that I've had, the few relationships that I've started to develop with folks have been meaningful. And again, as a community, the chamber does such a great job of listening and then helping advocate for not just our own individual causes, but for the community in general. I know I asked some questions after the hurricane, and I think getting a good response and being heard is all that people really could ask for. But knowing there's real professional and there's real leadership spearheaded by you about getting things done and making sure that our community is head and shoulders above every other.
Thank you for that. Yep, creating economic opportunity for all.
There we go.
Well, congratulations again. I really enjoyed getting to know more about you, our shared history, and thank you for all that Community School does for Naples.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you again to our guests for joining us and for sharing their insights on today's episode of Chamber Chats. If you are interested in sharing your own story and you would like to be featured on a future episode of the podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to the Greater Naples Chamber to learn more about how to get involved. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Chamber Chats.